5 of the 10 manufacturers have now been cleared in challenge mode, and what I am going to do now is head over to Triumph for what should be manufacturer number 6. And well, I figured before I do that, I might as well put on a set of street clothes whilst I'm at it, because, well, I figured why not. And also because, well, I figured it was time for me to change things up again. So, I think I'll go with the black helmet, and so I'll go with the black helmet, yeah, red gloves. I think I'll actually put on a coat as well this time. You know what, yes. And I'll head the other way this time, go for these ones from Kushitani. And as for the boots, sure, why not? Just to give myself a street look for what will probably be our last 5 manufacturers in the challenge mode. So we have 5 manufacturers to go, as we've got Triumph, MV Agusta, Ducati, Aprilia and Buell. Let's begin with Triumph, as we have got the Triumph. We've got the Triumph Sprint ST, the Triumph Speed Triple, and last but not least, the Triumph Speed Triple Racing Modify. We begin with the Sprint, and where we are once again starting at Grand Valley. So, let's see how we go. And 2 of the same bike, not too surprised. Let's now catch up to our rival. I do quite like this skeleton jacket, if you're wanting my opinion. I figured just because it was available I might as well use it at least once, since I figured this was more or less a good time for me to do so. And managing to not go too deep into the corner. Got a 9-second gap to make up, so this is probably going to be relatively easy for me to pass. I wouldn't think I'll be having too much trouble here. And it looks like we'll more or less be okay by the time we've caught up to our opponent. Since I am hoping, of course, not to wreck myself before the end. And still up on my 2 wheels, I have not crashed yet. And around the outside, and there we go, job is done. And that took me 1 minute and 55 seconds to get there. And so now we must go and get the other Triumph Sprint. Because I can. And also because I would imagine this is not going to be too much of a task for me to get all these. So we've got our first one. Now let's go and get our other 5. As our next one comes in Autumn Silver. So, back at Grand Valley once again, and it looks like we're more or less going to get this one pretty easily, from what I can tell. As long as I stay up on the bike and making sure to stay out of first gear. And at the moment we're more or less doing everything we're supposed to be doing. And so all we have to do now is deplete a 9-second gap, since this is more or less what I did before. I'm pretty confident in saying I can do it again without any real issue between now and the finish. And let's try seeing if we can get this done. Since I'm pretty sure we will. And keeping everything under control, gap is now down to 3 seconds as we head into the 3rd tunnel. Looks like this will more or less be a repeat of the previous attempt that we put together. And it looks like we're going to set exactly the same time we set before, or thereabouts. But there we go. The Triumph Sprint ST is now ours, under both of its colour schemes. And now we can move on to the Speed Triple. More specifically, the Triumph Speed Triple. For our next 3 colour schemes. And then, once we are done with that, we can then move on to the Speed Triple Racing Modify. Okay. Now we just have 4 bikes to go, if you account for all the colour schemes. So I've got Jet Black, Neon Blue, and Scorched Yellow. And we are at Tokyo Route 246 for our second bike at Triumph, the Speed Triple. And where we are racing an MV Augusta Brutale 910. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. And shifting down into first gear this time. I've still gone a little deep on the entry, but able this time at least to stay off the wall. And now I just have to focus on catching up to my opponent. And it looks like we are slowly closing in on our opponent. And up the inside, and we get it done. And so there we go. The Speed Triple is ours, and all that took was 1 minute and 12 seconds. So, now we just have to do that again 2 more times. And then we can pretty much divert our focus over to MV Agusta, as well as the other 3 manufacturers that we have following Triumph. So now we just have to get the same bike again, but twice over. As this time we are racing in Neon Blue. And this will probably be the replay that I save, since I did not save a replay. Well, since I did not decide to keep a replay of the Speed Triple prior to this. This time, on the brakes at just the right time, I get through the corner with relative ease. And it looks like this time around, I might be able to put together a cleaner run than I put up before. I'm gonna make damn sure that this time I do not run into the back of the MV Agusta, because last time I did, it resulted in... Nope, not this time. You ain't catching me out a 3rd time, bitch. You can literally suck my dick if you think my ass is gonna slam itself on the pavement or on the asphalt. Then you better quite literally take those magnets away from me. You're not pulling me in this time. Even though I have made a lot of mistakes on this run. Okay, this time... gotta be cautious. I don't want to run into the back of the MV this time. And get it done on the inside. Running a little bit wide there on the exit, but able to maintain my racing line, and that took me 1 minute and 20. And right at the end, I still rack out. But whatever. Point is, I got the bike. Even though I practically killed myself just after the run had finished, I still got the bike. And that's all I care about. So, all I have to do now is save the replay, since that's practically what I more or less do around here anyway. I put together reasonable runs, and I hope those runs are reasonable enough for me to keep everything going around here. And so, let's now go after our other 2 liveries, and where hopefully this time around, on the 3rd run, I will not be making a total tit of myself. And also where hopefully I will not be using all of my experience to just fucking eradicate myself, which is what I did on the previous 2 runs. Anyway, let's go. 2 laps around Tokyo Route 246, although realistically this is more or less half a lap. But we'll see how we go. And pretty much braking at just the right time. And getting through the first hairpin as I should be. And the gap is 8 seconds to the Brutale 910. or Brutale, I think is what the proper pronunciation is. Even though I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Brutale. But either way, we are doing good. We are closing in on our opponent, and we're hoping this time at least I can put together a cleaner effort, and this time I do. And not coming against the wall, and also lifting right at the end so I don't fall off the bike again. And there we go, that's all of the speed triples now cinched. And all we have left is the speed triple racing bike. And then once we have scored that, we should pretty much have all challenge mode bikes from Triumph. So, one bike remains, and that is the Speed Triple Racing variant. And this is in jet black, and where we are at Twin Ring Motegi for 2 laps. So, let's see how we go, this time with the race bike Triumph Speed Triple. And where our competition is a Yamaha MT-01 Racing Modify and an MV Agusta Brutale 910 Racing Modified. And we have 146 horsepower in this bike. Which probably isn't too surprising, but either way, here we go. And we'll see just how we do. And on the brakes relatively early, I don't want to overshoot the corner. I want to make sure that I'm keeping everything in full swing. And had to dip to the left a little bit there, but still able to maintain track position. Now I just have to figure out how to pass the leader. And then this challenge should be done. And up the inside. And it gives me a little bit of a nudge there, but able to hold on nonetheless. And there we go. In 1 minute and 5 seconds, we have scored the Triumph Speed Triple race bike. And so, there we go. And I'm pretty sure I already have a replay saved, so there's nothing to worry about there. And that is pretty much everything from Triumph, and that only took me 20 minutes. Plus a few failed attempts in between, but as ever, I always tend to edit those out because, well, you don't really need to see them. But there we go. That is all of the Triumph bikes now acquired from challenge mode. We still have plenty of the bikes to go from the race events, but there we go. Triumph is now sweeped. And it only took me 21 minutes to get all 6 of those bikes. And now we just have the other 4 manufacturers to go. As our next one will be MV Agusta. And where we've got 5 different colour variants from the road bike and 1 colour variant from the race bike. and where ironically we are at Twin Ring Motegi again. I figured it was at least worth it for me to check all that because, well, why not? But anyway, so we've now got another 6 bikes added to our collection, and it pretty much is a collection at this point because we're more or less collecting every single one of these for progressional purposes. And that's all of them. Yeah. Anyway. And in terms of our status, we're now 45.1% complete. So we just have another 44.9% of progress to go. And then, once we're done with that, we can then press on to the race events. Well, I mean, once we're done with challenge mode, we can then press on to the race events. Hope I didn't confuse you. Anyway. So that was Triumph in the challenge mode. And next time we will be doing MV Augusta. Coming in the next episode.